On a freezing December night in 1978, something extraordinary was about to happen at JFK Airport. Not a plane crash, not a hijacking, something far bolder. And far more audacious. A group of men, armed not with guns but with precision, walked into one of the most secure facilities in the country. Their target, the Lufthansa cargo vault, inside, millions of dollars in cash and jewels worth a fortune sat quietly unguarded, waiting to be stolen. In less than 1 hour, they would vanish into the night, leaving chaos and fear in their wake. What followed would become a story of greed, paranoia, and death, the Lufthansa heist. The plan began with a man who knew the airport like the back of his hand. Louis Werner, a Lufthansa employee with access to shipments arriving from Europe. Werner carried a dangerous secret. Every night, vast sums of money and valuable cargo sat in a vault at JFK, millions of dollars moving through the hands of banks and airlines, unprotected except for a few sleepy guards. Werner told someone he shouldn't have. That someone was Jimmy Burke, a notorious gangster whose reputation was built on fear, cunning, and ruthlessness. The moment Burke learned of the vault, he knew this could be the heist of a lifetime. But Burke wasn't reckless. He didn't strike immediately. He built a team specialists trained in precision, careful planning, and control. Safecrackers who could open any lock, drivers who could vanish into the night, lookouts who could read the rhythm of the guards' shifts, and the inside man, the key to success. Weeks passed as they studied the airport's every movement, memorizing schedules, security routines, even the time it would take for law enforcement to respond. This was no ordinary robbery. It was a symphony of timing and strategy, a crime choreographed down to the second. Then, in the early hours of December 11th, the plan went into motion. At 3:12 a.m., the crew moved through the shadows, entering the cargo area undetected. They confronted the guards, tied them up, and forced open the vault. Inside, stacks of cash, crates of jewelry, $5 million in cash, nearly 1 million in valuables. Everything was loaded into a waiting van. By the time anyone realized what had happened, the men had disappeared. New York woke to a headline that would shock the nation. The largest cash theft in American history. For a fleeting moment, it seemed flawless. No alarms sounded, no gunfire erupted, and no one was caught. But perfection is fragile. One crew member, careless in his celebration, parked the getaway van illegally near his apartment. The police found it the next day, along with fingerprints that would unravel the crew's carefully woven plan. Fear replaced elation. Jimmy Burke, paranoid and calculating, feared betrayal more than capture. And one by one, the men who had taken part in the heist began to vanish. Some were shot in cold blood. Others simply disappeared, leaving only whispers of what had happened. Within 2 years, most of the heist crew lay dead. The stolen money? Never recovered. Millions vanished into shadows, leaving families, friends, and accomplices to speculate, argue, and fear. Jimmy Burke himself would never be convicted for the heist. He would spend his final years behind bars for other crimes, dying in 1996. Yet the story of the Lufthansa heist has never died. It inspired Goodfellas, it haunts history books, and it remains one of the most infamous crimes ever committed in the United States. The Lufthansa heist was more than a robbery. It was a masterpiece of audacity, greed, and human fallibility. It was a crime without guns, without explosions, yet it destroyed lives more efficiently than any violent act. The money brought terror instead of freedom, paranoia instead of celebration, and death instead of reward. In the end, the greatest cost was not the $6 million that disappeared, it was the lives that were lost afterward. The perfect crime exists only in theory, and when it touches human greed, the consequences are as lethal as they are inevitable.